there you go. How are you doing? Happy Monday. It is a happy Monday. It is, according to Siri, it's 14 degrees outside. Wow. If you're watching live today on Monday, it is a happy Monday with 14 degrees, only to drop down to -2 later tonight. But it looks like, according to my iOS, tomorrow's 12, Wednesday's 14, Thursday's 14, a little bit of rain. That's okay. We need to clean things up. Why am I so happy? For those of you who know, I ride a motorcycle. So I've already gotten out once this season already. It was a couple weeks ago. And I only had to really do it because Jason, my son, was after me. He rides as well. And I had to beat my brother-in-law this year. Last year, my brother-in-law got out on March the 13th. He had a little bit of snow in the background, but it was warm enough. And he sent me a picture bragging that he got out on the motorcycle. So this year, we got out to beat him in advance. And we had the snow in the background too. Anyway, and looking forward to some great rides with my brother-in-law and my sister, should guidelines allow, and some great motorcycle plans coming up ahead. Everybody always asks me about Jennifer. You know, she had an accident back in July and a long road to recovery. She's on her way to and plans to, and she keeps telling me she's going to get back on the motorcycle. So we're all rooting for Jennifer. Send her a message if you're on her Facebook and say, "Go, Jennifer, go." Rooting for you to get back on the motorcycle. Let's go out and say hello to Carl. Happy Monday. And Michelle Dion says, happy Monday. Barry Loxton says, good afternoon and happy International Women's Day. Yes, we're going to talk about that coming up in a few moments. Lots to share about that, as a matter of fact. But first, got to do the updates on what's happening. There is a couple outbreaks happening right now in Sarnia, Lambton. So, I just keep telling you, just go to lambtonpublichealth.ca. That's the best place to get all the numbers. But Lambton Public Health is reporting 24 new cases since March 7th, or yesterday if you're watching this live. And they are investigating a school outbreak declared on March the 6th involving one staff member and one student at Queen Elizabeth Public School. And also Lambton Meadowview Villa, I'm doing it already, Meadowview Villa, declared an outbreak. One of the staff members, who apparently is not a direct caregiver, was tested positive. So there's your updates for that. At the end of the day, and you hear me say it every week, just follow the guidelines, wear the mask, social distance. If everybody would just do that. I keep hearing little floats of I went over to this place and then I left and I went over there and then I went around over, like, come on. And then you wonder why. No rant today. I'm just saying, make sure you follow the guidelines. And of course, as always, lambtonpublichealth.ca for accurate updates. And, there you go, Michelle. Go, Jennifer, go. Yes. And Mr. Hamard, I think I've said your name right. Happy day to you as well. And thank you for being here, as well as wherever you're watching from. Please say hello in the comments if you'd like to let us know where you're watching from. We do get broadcast through our international hubs. United Kingdom follows along with us. And we have South Africa and Ireland and Australia all supporting us. So thank you to all of our friends for doing that. And of course, yes, celebrating International Women's Day. I had a meeting this morning with my Lambton College crew, and we made sure that we recognized all the hardworking women in our group, at least anyway, and so many at Lambton College as well. And so many I see, I'm active. Start over, David. I'm active on Twitter, and I see a lot of tweets going out there as well. City of Sarnia, etc., recognizing International Women's Day. And we want to do the same thing here and recognize International Women's Day as well. And not only, it's just a great day. There's so many great people to celebrate, but International Women's Day is an important day. And not only are we recognizing it in many, but Sarnia Sting are recognizing it as well. And this is just perfect timing, really. Carolyn Prevost is joining the Sarnia Sting as a women's hockey ambassador. Couldn't think of a better choice to represent the Sarnia Stings and the women's hockey ambassador. Carolyn Prevost has been on the show before. She's a former Lambton Junior Sting and Blue Water Hawk, and she joins the organization with a great resume, and we're only given a short bit of it here. It includes 11 NCAA national championships, 9 years of professional hockey experience, and a national ranking in the sport of CrossFit, and currently a member of the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association. And that's just like this much of the resume of Carolyn Prevost. So very, very excited to have heard that news this morning. And you can find out more by visiting the Sarnia Sting online at sarniasting.com. Some plans in the works. What are those plans? Exact details, they haven't even told me yet. They're just like, David, they got me on standby. That's all I know. And whatever that looks like, I'll be excited to get back working with the Sarnia Sting and their organization as well. So it's coming, folks. And who knows what that exactly looks like. I can say I was listening to CBC Radio about a week ago, and they had, I believe it was the general manager of the Windsor Spitfires on the radio. And he really dropped a lot of hints about things coming back, even if it's a short season. So that's all I really know about that at this time. Let's go back to the comments once again. Let's see. What else we got out there? Oh, yes, there's Vanessa Lobazinski. I don't know if I say that right. That's why I just call her Chef Vanessa. We're going to talk about her in a moment. Watching from Pakistan. I appreciate everyone's work. Oh, very good. Thank you so much for being here. Nice to know where. And he says, Happy Women's Day. And here we go. I hope we don't run into the gray zone with all the increase in COVID numbers. Well, I hope we don't either, but if the numbers keep going up, like, it's not a matter of hope we don't, like, we will. I mean, it has to go that direction, right? So, but hopefully it doesn't come to that as well. There's Jesse. Jesse, I've missed you, man. I haven't seen you in a little while here and there, but I've noticed that you are letting. He's my. For those of you who don't know Jesse, he's what I call my personal gas buddy. He works at the Petrocan over at London and Finch here in Sarnia, and he's often sending me messages. So it's currently gas price is $1.12 and going up this evening, most likely. There you go. Your inside scoop with Jesse. Thanks so much, Jesse. Really appreciate that. And I got things. Oh, I'm having another techie day. I've been having a techie week, and now things are happening. What do I got to do here? I need a producer. Who wants to be my producer? I got to do something here. There we go. I think I got it. We're okay, folks. All right. Thanks, Jesse, for all that updates in there as well. And we appreciate you staying and keeping the gas pouring out there for us. We've got some likes out there, Jesse. Bill Dennis. Hello, Bill. We've got to have you back on the show again soon. And speaking of Bill Dennis, it always reminds me that Sarnia City also does a really good job of keeping things updated as far as, we'll call it the do's and don'ts of what's happening with COVID-19 in Lambton County. And you can find that at sarnia.ca. They've got a page specifically attached for COVID-19 and what's happening. So thanks, Bill Dennis, for doing your part on our council as well. And you can find out all the the council meetings are broadcast live on the City of Sarnia website as well. So no reason to not know what's going on there. Let's carry on a little bit more with International Women's Day. Of course, this is very exciting. A book that has been written called Pursuit 365, co-authored by 365 Canadian women. One of them, I'll say, Jan Arden was in there. And they led the example in everyday pursuit of success, happiness, and achievement. That is what this book is about. And very proud to say that there are 14 local women who are included and co-authored this book. And it's now available on Amazon. So if you want to find out more about that, head on over to Amazon after the show. Don't do it right now. We want to keep you here for a little bit. But that's another great way to be celebrating International Women's Day. Congratulations to the author of that book and the 14 co-authors here from Lambton County. That's just super exciting to be able to share, right? And another one of the great ladies, she's watching, I know, so I have to make sure I say this. No, I would say this anyway. Happy to be working together with Chef Vanessa from Call the Chef. And if you haven't heard about Call the Chef yet, Call the Chef is a meal kit, local meal kits, and it's fabulous. It is local and it is fresh. My wife Jennifer and I have recorded a couple times that I cooked it because I am not a cook. I am not a cook at all by any means. And I was able to, with a little help from Jennifer and guidance, I was able to pull it off in our kitchen. And we've done two. We did one for New Year's Eve. We did one for Valentine's Day. And coming up St. Patty's Day, they're going to have a very special meal kit that I believe is it's going to be $60. And there's always some wine with it and beer, your choice, and delicious. And if I can do it, I know it's a cliche saying, but honestly, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And kudos to my wife for allowing me to attempt this, because I am not allowed to cook in the kitchen because I burn water, and it's just not a good thing. If I cook, that usually means, where do you want to go? But now we can stay at home, and you can do the same thing as well. Callthechef.ca. And they're also on Facebook. And this, you got to understand, like, this is like all local food, like all local suppliers, from the beer to the wine to the meat to the produce. It is all local. So talk about a great way to support local here in Sarnia. Have I said local enough? Callthechef.ca is a great place to start and check out all their meals. Now understand that you've got to plan this because these are prepared so specifically. You like order today, you go to their website and order, and there's a calendar there. It'll pick, what day do you want it? So it's not like, burger and fries, order it at 3 and it's ready at 4. This is very special, and by our very own Chef Vanessa, who's, I know you're feeling a little under the weather today, Vanessa, so I hope you get feeling a little bit better. Check her out online for that as well. All right. Well, talking about local, one more time, I'll go to out there. Let's see what's going on. Hello, Tim. Appreciate you. And the slow down, move over sticker tomorrow from Lisa. Yes, I have to get my order in. We had Lisa and her family on here a few weeks ago talking about their slow down and move over campaign and bracelets and stickers, etc., that they're making to support that. And we'll post that on our Facebook page again after the show today. All right, well, let's talk some more local and talk about some history that is local. And my first guest is ready to join me, Dana Thorne. Thanks for being here today, Dana.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you here. You're all COVIDed up.
I know. Safety first.
Right. Well, I know who you are, of course, but why don't we start with who you are and your background and what you're here to talk about today.
Absolutely. My name is Dana Thorne, and I'm the Curator Supervisor at Lambton Heritage Museum, which for anyone who hasn't been able to visit us before, we're located just south of Grand Bend. And I'm here to talk about an exciting new historic building that we have here at the museum.
Yeah, this is, well, you've been having several virtual events, right? And this is just next on the list. Before we talk about it, how's that been having to adapt to this virtual world for you?
It's definitely been a learning curve. Usually we would have lectures that we host in person at the museum, and we would have people sit in our program room and watch us speak that way. So it has been an adjustment to be talking to a screen and getting used to all the technology and coordinating that. But it's been great in some ways because we definitely have a bigger reach than we used to.
Right.
With our virtual talks now, sometimes someone will say, "Oh, I'm watching from Australia," or wherever they happen to be watching from. So it is cool to see that reach.
Well, that sort of led into my next question. Obviously, then you've had a really good response from the virtual events.
Yeah, we've been getting anywhere between 80 and 90 people who are attending our virtual talks, whereas in person at the museum, I would be very, very happy to have 20 people come out to the museum. So in that way, the expanded reach has been great.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about something that I guess came from Sarnia. And honestly, I can remember having some good memories in this cabin that came from Canatara Park. And talk about that.
Yeah, so there's the log cabin that was in Canatara Park. A lot of people have very fond memories of visiting it for special events like around Easter or Christmas and doing
Yeah.
cookie decorating. And the city hosted a lot of great programs in this log cabin. And at the end of last year, the cabin was dismantled and moved here to Lambton Heritage Museum, where we're undertaking a restoration project to put the cabin back together.
Right.
One of the
No, go ahead.
One of the interesting things about this cabin is that it actually has moved 3 times in the cabin's life. It was originally built in Huron County, and then in the 1830s, and then in the 1930s, it was moved to Lakeshore Road in Sarnia, and then in 1971, it was then moved to Canatara Park. So the cabin was actually undertaking its third move when it came to
wow,
us
I
here.
had no idea. Well, and that's why you've got all the history notes on this. That's why we're talking to you. Well, the one in 1971, that's the one I would have started going to at Canatara Park. It's really great. It's really great to see history preserved. I know sometimes there can be debates on, well, do we really need to save that? You know, sometimes what's worthy of being saved. Kind of take us back through how this all came about to leaving Canatara and was decided to be preserved, and how it came into your hands.
Yeah, so we definitely identified this as a historic building that was worthy of preservation. Now that it's here at the museum, it'll be the oldest building here. So it's actually the 6th historic building at the museum. So we've brought other buildings from other parts of the county that were at risk of being demolished, that needed a good home where they could be enjoyed and toured by the public. And our next oldest building is 1857, also a private residence. So this one, dating from the 1830s, will be the oldest building here at the museum.
Wow.
And it's also the only log cabin that we have. We didn't have an example of a log cabin previously. So it was a really good fit for us to bring here to Lambton Heritage Museum, and a great opportunity to preserve that history and help tell that story for the public.
Yeah, for sure. It had to be a delicate move. Like, this is old, and can you talk about some of the specifics that had to be considered, and who got to move it, and all the sort of aerobatics, I guess, in a way that went along with it?
Yeah, so the city of Sarnia hired a local excavation firm to handle the move. So they dismantled the cabin and they numbered each and every log.
Wow.
So they had a diagram of the and a pile of pictures of the cabin before it was dismantled. And it was taken apart piece by piece, and each log was numbered. And now all those components are here in storage at the museum, and we're undertaking the fundraising to support the work of putting it all back together now that all these logs have arrived at the museum.
That's quite a puzzle to how much time did this take from start to finish, would you say?
The actual dismantling was probably 5 or 6 weeks of between the getting the schematics in place, and then the actually taking it apart, and then facilitating the move on the trucks to the Heritage Museum.
Wow. Have you had any kind of a response so far from the public as to, like, yay, we're keeping this, and any support offered from the public?
Absolutely. We have been fundraising for the restoration. Our fundraising goal is $100,000, and we've raised about $16,000 so far.
Okay.
So it's been great to see the public responding and recognizing the importance of this building and wanting to support it. So we've been pleased with the support so far, but we do need to have more money in order to be able to go ahead with the restoration.
Ask away for it here. We got to have more money. We need some more money. Absolutely. And how can people donate? Like Facebook, website, etc.?
Yeah, that link, lambtonmuseums.ca/Canatara Cabin. There's you can get lots of great history on the information about the cabin and the cabin's history, and then there's also the opportunity to donate on that website. So if you want to support the project, you can donate with your credit card right online through that.
Yeah.
Through that
okay.
link.
We'll be sure to share those links again after the show as well, because I think it's really important, especially out where you are in Grand Bend. Though that's another place I remember Mom taking me there as a kid, and going on school trips to tour the museum and different museums around the county, I should say, quite honestly. How's that? Are you still working with the schools, but in a virtual way, or what's happening there?
We have been doing some live sessions with schools. So our education program coordinator has been Zooming into classrooms, and then she'll
Nice.
kind of pick up artifacts and show them to the kids and talk about the significance of the museum and what we do here. So we have had some opportunities to still get into classrooms and reach out to students, despite the fact that we can't actually welcome them at the museum right now,
Right.
which is a shame.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's hope's a good thing, right? And I think we're headed towards that hope. And then I would imagine, like, will I be able to come and get a cookie with my name on it again someday?
We look forward to reimagining the kind of programming that we can have in the new cabin.
Yeah. What's so it's all done now, like it is back complete? Am I to understand that, or it's not quite there, and that's what you need the money for?
Exactly. So we have the components of the cabin are here. So we have all of the logs and the roof and the flooring, but we need the money to be able to actually reconstruct the cabin. So it is currently in pieces here at the museum.
Right. Why would you say, aside from the obvious, it's historical, but why would you say it's important that we keep this cabin?
One of the interesting parts of the history of this cabin is, like I said, that it's been moved 3 times. So the first time it was moved from Huron County to Lakeshore Road, where it was a private cottage for several decades. They dismantled it log by log and put it on a barge, and the barge came down Lake Huron from Huron
Wow.
County to its location in Sarnia, where it was then reconstructed and used as a family cottage. So I think it's really unique. You have this building that was dismantled and rebuilt once on Lakeshore Road. And then when it was moved to Canatara Park, it was moved as a single entity. So it was put on the back of a truck and it was driven down to Canatara Park, and then ultimately dismantled again and moved here to Lambton Heritage Museum. So I think this is a really unique building that has done its share of moving around.
Yeah. And when you think about how we're moving it today with the technology that we have and how they did it, so we got to be able to do it if they were able to do it way back in the day, I suppose, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. But, families, we keep talking about, I keep bringing that into the conversation, but families really have been able to enjoy this over so many years as well. And again, the museums, pardon me, etc. Is there any other attachments that go along with this, like photos of the cabin or feedback that you've received that kind of people that were a part of the cabin, anything like that?
Yeah, you definitely talk to a lot of Sarnia residents who have great memories of visiting the cabin with their families or when they were kids. We've got some great pictures inside the cabin over the years of people enjoying the programming. And then looking back to when the cabin was on its Lakeshore Road location, when it was there, it was owned by the Spaulding family. And they have some pretty, Margaret Spaulding was actually the daughter of Maud Hannah, who was one of a famous philanthropists here in Sarnia, who actually donated towards the construction of Canatara Park. So things kind of come full circle, looking at when it was owned privately to when it became a public building.
Right. Well, I think it's really exciting, and I think it's just fantastic that we're at least headed in the right direction of completing this. But like I say, we've got to get you some more money. Who else is involved? I mean, you said the city of Sarnia was involved in helping with this as well. Can you tell us some of the partners that were all involved in making sure this happened, at least to this point?
Yeah, so the city funded the relocation of the cabin here to the museum, and they've been very supportive of us in that way. We're also working with a local grassroots organization called Save the Canatara Cabin, and they've been spearheading our fundraising campaign. And sitting on that campaign is some of the family members of people who owned the cabin when it was on its Lakeshore Road location. So Sandi Spaulding, related to Margaret Spaulding, who had purchased the cabin back in 1930, and then Roger Hay, whose dad had owned the building after the Spauldings. So Sandi and Roger will actually be joining me for our virtual talk later this week to share about their family's involvement with the cottage and that part of the cottage's history as well.
that just adds to the uniqueness of all of this, that the families directly involved are still able to be a part of all of this and kind of adding to the history of everything that's happening with this.
Yeah.
I think, well, I'm always stunned by the historical things, and I think it's great that we're able to preserve it. Is there anything else you want to add before I let you get back to your day?
If anyone's interested in checking out the virtual talk, it's going to be this Thursday, March 11th. It starts at 7:00, and you can register for it on our website. So if you go to heritagemuseum.ca and then you go to our events and programs, that's where you could register for the virtual talk, and it will be on Zoom, like everything else is right now.
Yeah, right. Zoom. Gotta buy stocks in that thing still.
Yeah.
And how long is the event? Is it a 1 hour event or?
It's 1 hour. Yeah.
1 hour. Perfect. Dana, thank you so much. And I look forward to having you back again and talking about maybe the next virtual event. Keep sending us those media releases. I look forward to seeing them. And thank you again for your time today.
Well, thanks for having me, David.
You're welcome. Dana Thorne from the Lambton Heritage Museum. She's the Curator Supervisor for Lambton Heritage Museum. And there you have the next virtual event that is happening with them. I'm very sincere when I say it's so great to see things like this being preserved, but they need some money to help pull it off. So you can find out more. There's the website on the screen. You can also find them on their Facebook page as well. And we'll post those links for sure after the program here today. Thanks again, Dana, for being here. All right. Well, everything's got a cost to it, and sometimes we got to put prices up. Boy, there's a great way to introduce you. Everybody's going to love you.
Yeah. I've been dreading the conversation to a certain degree because nobody likes to pay more, but it's like you say, it's a fact of life. It's death and taxes, and tolls is a kind of user fee. User fees are a nice word for tax, right?
So everybody knows who you are. Todd Kealey, thanks for being here from the Federal Bridge Corporation Limited. Thanks for joining me, but remind everybody who you are and where you're talking to us from.
Yeah, I'm talking to you from the lakeshore by the river, overlooking the bridge. Actually, I want to give you first, before I go any further, do you recognize the image?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Blue Water Bridge, or bridges, I should say.
Right, but who took this photo?
I would want to guess Barry Loxton.
No, you did. This is your.
Is that my photo?
Yeah, I took this.
Barry takes all kinds of those.
I took this photo from your Facebook page, so thanks for that.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool. Oh, that might have been from my drone, or maybe it was from my camera. I can't remember. That's right. It was my camera.
I remember your wife is just sitting off to the left. I just edited a little bit, but that left. Right.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, thank you for sharing.
So I don't even recognize my own photos.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I'm Todd Kealey. I'm the Director of Public Relations, Government Relations for the Federal Bridge Corporation, and we own the Canadian half of the Blue Water Bridge, Sault Ste. Marie International Bridge, Seaway International Bridge near Cornwall, and Thousand Island Bridge.
Yeah, well, and it's nice to have you back. We've had you here a few times, and you've always got some good updates for us. But, I think, you're right. Most people, great, the price is going up, especially during COVID. But realistically, and we've talked about this the last time you were here, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of maintenance going on here. And especially with the decrease in traffic, I would say.
Well, the decreases maybe slowed the wear and tear a little bit, but the inevitable reality is that the bridge, is always rusting, and so it needs constant care to keep it in tip-top shape. And as with your previous guest, those things don't happen for free. So the money's got to come from somewhere. And for us, it comes from tolling.
I think, for myself, well, I mean, obviously I haven't been over the bridge in a long time, but like Jennifer and I would regularly go over and enjoy some entertainment type stuff, whatever. And I like feeling pretty confident when my vehicle is pulling up that I can feel like I'm going to make it across.
Yeah, chunks of concrete aren't falling down on the boats below, and
I think that kind of stuff really does happen that we don't necessarily see, right?
Well, thankfully, no, it doesn't happen here. It has been known to happen with some people's bridges, but not with ours.
But that's what I mean is, though, this cost
Yeah.
is preventing that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We do annual bridge inspections. We have highly qualified engineers go through this with a fine-tooth comb, even with X-ray machines, and they look for the slightest little defects, and we resolve them before they become a problem for anybody.
Yeah, because any problems that happen could be big problems, and we don't want that for sure.
Exactly.
Right? So you must have spent. You probably just didn't wake up one day, Todd, and go, "Well, I think we'll put it up to this price." Like, I'm sure there's a lot of numbers to crunch and divide by and E equals and all that stuff to come up with a number here. Tell everybody, like, what are all the things that you?
Well, the things that go into it, I think the most obvious and simple ones are stuff like how's the exchange rate comparing to each other. So that informs, what the price is using different currencies. But we also have a 6-month review process. We look at our operating expenses. We look at our forecasted costs. And we look at even stuff like competitiveness relative to other crossings and expected traffic levels, things of that nature. And we use that to inform what the toll rates should be.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you mentioned the U.S. Canadian dollar and how it compares to each other. Is that something that you're like daily keeping an eye on too? Because it's pretty close right now. Even.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been fairly stable for the last couple of years. So that one isn't a big one. I think the bigger thing that's affecting us right now is inflationary effects and you can budget for a program that'll happen in 2 years, and by the time the program starts, the real world costs are going to be different than what you budgeted for in the first place. So that's the kind of stuff we're constantly adjusting for. That's really where the gotchas and surprises come from is inflationary effect. Because even in COVID in particular, like you look at market rates for construction services, because they themselves, those contractors, need to keep social distancing and safety of their employees into consideration. That affects our costs as well. So these things are always evolving.
Yeah, well, and that probably takes quite a team to like, it's not just you figuring this all out, right? There's a whole team there.
we have a very qualified finance department. We have a really experienced bridge director and operational crew and maintenance team. So it's a team effort, definitely. And it's a 6-month process that takes about 5 months of that 6 months to work itself through.
Yeah. Well, like I say, you didn't just wake up one day and say, "Okay, I think it's time." And then I suppose, like, how much of an effect has COVID, like safety guidelines, has it had any effect on this? Because you talk about 5-6 months. Yeah. We've been handling this for a year now.
It has had an effect on our costs, not only for what we subcontract, but what we do internally. So things like we've done work on staggering our staff shifts so that we can maintain social distance with people just even like arriving and leaving for work, going for lunch, things of that nature. A lot of personal protective equipment costs. We also do all the maintenance work and sanitary work for CBSA and all their facilities. It's our staff that do that constant sanitization work that goes in there. When it comes to actual project costs, though, I think we've been mostly lucky at Blue Water. There is an effect, but it's not as big as we've seen. Let's say at the Seaway Bridge in Cornwall, we've had bigger costs that come in to play, but that doesn't relate to the toll rates at Blue Water. It's just part of our business operations. Is things are different at each location. There are different factors that play with each one. But honestly, as you hinted at, the lack of revenue has really been our single biggest challenge at Blue Water, because we're forecasting to end our fiscal year at the end of this month with at least 70% decline in revenues, which is a big hit.
And it's concerning, like not just for the obvious profitability thing, but safety. Like really, because
Yeah, well, I think that the nice thing, and we've talked about this, the silver lining is that our trucking traffic has been fairly back to normal. And the nice thing is Blue Water Bridge being the second busiest commercial crossing in Canada is a very big positive. So things like safety, security, all those costs are being fully addressed. So with the cars not coming, though, what that affects is our ability to schedule and plan for the long term. So things that we would have had scheduled for the coming summer may be deferred 3-4 years because of that. Right. It's really where things, like from a business planning perspective, things are very gray at that perspective.
Yeah. Now there's still, aside from the trucking industry and some others, like I know, like tow trucks. Well, I guess that's trucking industry, but there are still some cars coming across, but that's only specific people. But are
a few
they
hundred
taking
a day? Yeah.
Yeah, right. I was just going to say a few hundred.
Yeah.
How many is that? So it's not a lot, but
no.
Someday we need to talk about the connection program, because even though that we're not all able to get across there, this is still an important part of what you guys do.
Yeah, and really what we did with the toll rates, right now for the few vehicles that do cross, typically they're paying through connection or through credit and debit cards. We're not accepting cash at the bridge right now to limit, keep that public health aspect as safe as possible. But when traffic does resume, you would have to assume that cash will become back into play, right? So really the rate, you never know, but you'd think some degree of cash would come back, right? Yeah. So part of really what we did is we didn't really change our connection rates that much. So in other words, our real goal here is to encourage people when regular traffic comes back to keep using the connection program. You go get your benefits. Now, at the same time, the way connection works is it's a little sticker tag for your windshield. And the way our commercial program has been working in conjunction with the U.S. Michigan's DOT, Department of Transportation, who run the other half of the bridge, our commercial customers have been using specially issued mag stripe card, the swipe card with their account information. So we're right now just piloting a process where we use the same tags as our cars for those vehicles to make it a lot easier for them to cross contactless as well. Yeah, and that'll be rolling out over the next couple of months on a bigger scale. But right now we've got a few hundred vehicles using that every day.
Oh, okay, good. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the other things that I've noticed about the Federal Bridge Corporation Limited is there is some giving back into the community as well. I know that's a big part of, that's an important part of your philosophies there. And I just want to briefly talk a little bit. You supported the Sarnia Sting, throughout most of this pandemic. Talk about, why the Sarnia Sting and why it's important to support the community.
Well, yeah, community support in essence is very important for us because we're connected to our community. We're part of our community. Our staff live there, right? Except for me in my basement in Ottawa. All our Blue Water staff are Sarnia residents, and they care about the community just like anybody else does. Over the last few years, the majority of our corporate goodwill and let's call it labor charity has been directed to the Inn of the Good Shepherd. We've done a lot of projects with them and helped them with things like their setting up a vegetable garden and various clothing and food drives for them. And then when I was approached by the Sarnia Sting, the concept that they put forward was we could do something in conjunction with the Inn of the Good Shepherd, but that would aim to promote mental health in the community. And that sort of clicked right away with us. We thought there was a good fit there. And we already do some work with the Sarnia Sting collaboratively, mostly just, advertising stuff in the rink and things of that nature. But this was a nice extension of that program. It fit well with what we do and our message at the community level. So it was a no-brainer for that. And we were really happy to get on board. And I encourage people to go visit the Sarnia Sting Facebook page. You'll see some very interesting and uplifting video messages from some of their key people that talk about mental health during the pandemic, and we very happy to support that.
It was a great program that you guys did with the Sing there, and then even that the coaches got involved and sent some of those message players, etc. And mental health, definitely no argument there that we need to support that in our communities as well. So kudos to you and the Federal Bridge Corporation for doing that.
And they came up with a nice, clever name, build to bridge to better days. So
yep.
it had a nice little touch to it. So yeah, it was a nice program. We're very happy with that, and we're pleased with the way things worked out.
What's just another couple minutes before I let you go? What's the atmosphere, if you will, as close as you can tell, to the employees that work at the Federal Bridge Corporation with all this wonderfulness that's going on?
Yeah, well, it hasn't been easy for everybody, right? Toll attendants and maintenance staff and operational staff, they're people like just you and I, right? So they go to work every day, and while some people have been furloughed, all our folks have been kept busy, and COVID has added a layer of concern to their day-to-day activities because they interact with people all day long. Sure. So we've been very much engaged with our staff to ensure sanitization of all the workspaces, and everyone has the protective equipment they need. All the attendants are behind plastic walls, and we do what we can to keep everybody safe, maintaining social distancing between our own staff while they work on stuff. It's awkward for everybody. I have to tell you that. I think it's no different than any other workspace where everyone needs to still get the job done, but to keep each other safe. So.
Do you get to get out of your basement once in a while, at least?
I get some fresh air, but right now it's still in the basement, and looking forward to someday where we get some normalcy back. Hopefully, as you said earlier, hopefully that's coming soon with the vaccine starting to roll out, things of that nature.
Yeah. Maybe you and I will actually get to meet in person one day.
Yeah, Todd. We could host my second annual media bridge tour that was supposed to happen last June. That may not see the light of day till this fall, possibly. But it'll
let me know. We'll get the cameras out and we'll do the tour.
Exactly.
Todd, I always like to give you one final chance to say anything else before I let you go.
I just want to thank everyone for their continued support of the bridge, and look forward to the day when we can have everybody back.
Sounds good. Todd, nice to talk to you as always, and look forward to having you back again very soon.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome. Todd Kealey from the Federal Bridge Corporation Limited. Prices got to go up, and it sounds like reasonable to me. We've got to take care of those maintenance costs for sure, and everything Todd talked about there. The fact that things don't fall off the bridge that's the first one that's in my mind if I ever got to go across there. So we appreciate Todd talking to us, and appreciate the Federal Bridge Corporation Limited for giving back into our community, not just here, but in all the areas that they look after their bridges. So thanks to them for giving back in the communities that they serve as well. So, and thank you to my first guest, Dana Thorne, who is here from the Lambton Heritage Museum. Again, a virtual walk about a virtual talk, I should say, about the log cabin that didn't know moved 3 times, and it's got quite a history to it. You can find out more about that again coming up on March the 11th, and again I will be posting the links shortly after this broadcast. So now that things are warm, I'm looking at 16 degrees, and my motorcycle, I'm calling my name. I do want to remind everybody that the 999th Legion of Child Rights Sarnia chapter, supporting the rights of children in our community, the Sarnia chapter, which I'm very proud to be a part of as well. We support children in the community, and we just happen to ride motorcycles too. We're going to be having some more plans in the works that you're going to want to keep an eye on, and how you'll be able to support in the community as well. I did do an interview with one of my co-parts, or 2 of my co-parts, I should say, from the 999th Legion a couple of weeks ago, Christopher Holbrook, and our friend Jaylene, who is also she's part of the 999th Legion as well. And again, just keep an eye out there. We're going to be on the road. And speaking of being on the road, motorcycles are just on the road. So it's time again to drive aware and ride aware. Keep an eye out there. And motorcycles, we got to behave ourselves too. And of course, I always like to say thank you to all of our supporters, which I'll mention in a moment. But first, a reminder, my friend Domingos Fernandez, who's actually been in the hospital for about 3 weeks now, but I spoke to him today, and he was in really good spirits. He's on a road to recovery. But his book, My Journey with MS, which is why he's in the hospital right now, it's called Long Road, is now available on Amazon with a portion of the proceeds going to support the MS Society. And he tells me book sales are going good, but he needs some more. So simply just go to amazon.ca and find My Journey with MS and support Dom and his mission to support the MS Society. And of course, Philly Cheese Jake's, two-time restaurant winner of some contests here in Sarnia. Congratulations, Jake. I haven't been down to see him. I got to get back and see him. Our friend Active Ears Hearing Centers. Thank you, Christine Fiji, where better hearing begins with you. Hughes Intelligence, a security specialist here in Sarnia. Huron Signs SWO and AskGuy.ca. And of course, Joe's Discount Tire. We appreciate them and their tires. You got to have the right tires. Now that winter, I think it's over. You still got to have good tires to drive safely out there. And our friends at Oswelds.com, locally owned, family owned, and delicious food. And I'm not just saying that. Oswelds.com is where you can find their menu, and they've got some other things going on, the Max and Cheese and the Donaires. And coming soon, Two Wheel Tuesdays. So excited to get back to that as well. And of course, I always have to say thank you to all of you. I couldn't do the show without you, and I am very sincere when I say I'm grateful for all of you who show up here every week. And if you've got someone in the community that you think should be here on the show to share their story, or maybe you've got a special event coming up for your nonprofit organization, reach out to me, find me on Facebook, or send me an email. I'm not hard to find, really. I want to check the comments one more time. Yeah, 73 to you, Carl. And that means have a great day. Thanks to all of you. That's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here in the show. Bye.